For the intermediate workout, make sure you have 2 small pillows, a strap or a belt, some light dumbbells, a small stool, a pad or yoga mat, some floor space, and some wall space. Let's get ready to go. Okay, we're starting the intermediate posture level. Let's start with bridges with a strap. Strap around the knees, you're gonna lift up toward the ceiling. So I'm doing 2 things here. I'm pressing out with the strap, and I'm also lifting by engaging the glutes. So I'm lifting the hips up high toward the ceiling, stretching the hip flexors. I'm also engaging the lower back a little bit. It should be a muscular engagement though, not a spinal tension or pain or anything like that. It should feel good. It should feel like a burn, like you're working out the back muscles. It's also going to hit the hamstrings a little bit. So that's a good thing. We want to strengthen up the hamstrings. Most people have very weak hamstrings in addition to them feeling very tight. So we want to strengthen the entire back line of the body. Glutes are leading the way, lifting the hips up, pushing out on the strap, engaging the lower back, engaging the hamstrings. Almost done. Take a few more breaths here. The intermediate program is a little bit harder than the beginner, but you should still feel somewhat relaxed in it. Go ahead and lower down, take off the strap. Next up we have hip circles. So we're going to be on our back, one leg out straight, the other leg is bent 90-90, circling the knee like we're drawing a circle on the ceiling with the kneecap. So circling the knee around that imaginary point. If I had my finger like this and I'm pointing straight down at your hip, you should go all the way around that finger. Up, inside, below it, and outside. That whole thing. Don't be out here like this. All the way up and around. All the way up and around that finger. And switch directions. Doesn't matter which one you start with, we're doing both ways. Switch directions, nice and smooth. We are working the hip the way that it's designed to be worked, which is a circular pattern. We do a lot of pushing and pulling, flexion, extension, a lot of linear things. It's good to go circular with the hips and the shoulders as well. We'll do some more circular patterns there too. Okay, let's go ahead and switch legs. So remember, one leg straight, this leg is bent 90-90, and go ahead and circle. Again, it doesn't matter which way you go first. We're going to go the other direction in 30 seconds. Ask yourself those questions. Does this side feel about the same? Is it easier? Is it harder? Do I feel it in a different place than the other side? So just ask yourself those questions. That's going to give you that good feedback to know when you're progressing, how fast you're progressing, and if you need to make any modifications. So go ahead and switch directions. We're going the other way now. Just like the format of the beginner workout, we are starting with the hips, working our way up to the shoulders, and then we're going to kind of connect the two with some core work and some other exercises for the legs. Okay, let's go ahead and rest. Find a wall if you have one that's big enough and open enough. Otherwise, you can use the middle of the room. Legs out straight. This is outer thighs. Thighs tight. I'm going to come up the wall and go right back down. The goal here is that you actually want your calf touching the wall. If you are fully locked out in your leg, your calf will touch the wall. If there's any knee bend, even a little bit, your calf's going to be off the wall. So work as much as you can to get that calf to the wall, get that knee locked out. Up and down. Squeeze your thigh tight. Make sure that your lower back has a little arch, but that it's not too much. So the way you know is that the width of your finger, which is this, it's only that wide, one finger, one hand should fit back there. If you can theoretically fit both hands, or if you can like turn your hand like that, that's too much of an arch. flatten that arch a little bit, and then continue to go up and down. Just about done with this exercise. Before we switch to the other side, we're going to do another exercise while we're here. Go ahead and rest there. The next thing we're going to do, keep your bottom leg straight, bring your top leg up and over. You can be up here, you can be down here. We're going to do inner thighs. Bottom leg is straight, let's go up and down. Just like that. We're stabilizing the hips and legs. This is all the Jane Fonda stuff that they did in the 80s. That was some good stuff. Some of the exercises were really good. We're going to sequence them in the way to enhance our posture. So this is part of the hip and pelvic stabilization in order to have more balanced muscles, stand up taller, and just in general feel better. A lot of people have back pain. In fact, 8 out of 10 Americans, this is an actual statistic, 8 out of 10 Americans will at some point in their life experience significant back pain. So, I mean, that's pretty much everybody. So, most of that back pain, in my opinion, can be avoided. Good, we are almost done. Let's do one more. Switch sides. So now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to start with the outer thigh. We're going to work our way back to the inner. So, both legs straight. Here we go. Squeeze that tight. This is another one-sided exercise, so you can ask yourself those questions again. Do I feel it hard? Is it harder or easier? Do I feel it in a different place? When I personally started doing these, I had a lot of ankle issues because I played basketball for years. Had a lot of sprains playing basketball, you know, going up for a rebound and coming down, landing on somebody's foot. The ankle would just go. There's actually a connection between the ankle and the side of the hip. So I was very imbalanced. This left leg was very weak. It didn't have the strength to hold up to stabilize the whole leg. So you may have a similar situation. And if you do, just work step by step to improve it. The first step is just to notice it without judgment, and then take one step at a time to improve it. Let's bring that top leg forward. That bottom leg you want to keep flat and straight, and we're going to lift it and lower. So when you first start doing this exercise especially, the range of motion may not be that big at all. And you may not even lift your foot off the floor. That's happened before, but you can still engage the muscle without lifting the foot off the floor. The key though, the number one thing is that you keep the leg straight, keep the knee straight. And then if you can lift it, that's great. The first step is to keep the leg straight. Good. Occasionally just checking your form, looking down at your leg, making sure it's straight. Keep your hips, your shoulders, everything back against the wall. Just a few seconds and we're going to get into the next exercise. We got 2 more exercises for the hips and upper legs. Then we're going to move on to the shoulders. Okay, I'm going to roll out of here real quick. Next one is leg raises. So I'm going to extend one leg out, squeeze the thigh tight, pull the toes back, lift the leg up until the knees are the same level, and then go right back down. Leg raises. We did a similar exercise in the beginner one with my knee bent. So you'll feel the difference. This is a lot harder because you're taking the weight of your leg and bringing it away from your body. So it gives the impression that your leg actually weighs more than it does. So as far as my hip flexor is concerned and my quad, there is more weight. It's like I added some ankle weights or something. There's more weight that it's lifting as opposed to doing this where it feels a lot lighter. So in that way, that's actually a very common question that I get about weights. Do I need to lift weights? Well, not necessarily, but you do need to do resistance work. And this is resistance work, and this is a way to add more weight to your resistance without actually lifting a weight. Let's go ahead and switch legs. So one leg bent, the other one straight. And let's lift it till the knees are the same height, and then lower back down. So when somebody tells you that you need to lift weights, they're partially right. And in a sense, I mean, I am in a way lifting a weight right now. I'm lifting the weight of my leg. When you're doing push-ups, you don't have weights in your hand, but you are lifting a weight of your body. So you don't necessarily, though, have to go to the gym and do a bunch of bench press or whatever else you want to do at the gym. If you want to do more body weight stuff, that is developing muscle strength, bone density, and all those great things that we want to develop. Almost done with this one. Make sure your knee stays locked out tight. If it's starting to bend even a little bit, you're not getting the full value of the exercise. Keep it all the way straight. Okay. Shake it out real quick. And let's come on to your hands and knees. We're going to do a little bit more hips. Now we're going to use the glutes. So, my knee is going to stay 90 degrees. I'm going to do a donkey kick. This is called a donkey kick. Hands and knees, donkey kicks. And I'm going to go up and down, just like that, making sure that I'm lifting with the glute and not doing this with my lower back. If I hyperextend the lower back, that defeats the purpose. So let your back stay neutral and only go up as high as you can with your leg only. This is a good exercise for most of us who are sitting a lot at the office, on the computer. When you're sitting, your glutes are disengaged. The glutes are some of the most powerful muscles in the body. They are the ones that are responsible for us being able to run and walk. And if those are disengaged, you're going to have a really hard time participating in any activity, and definitely participating in an activity without pain. Go ahead and switch sides. Reason is, if you have no glute engagement, your lower back is going to really take over. So your lower back and your glute are very, very connected. Okay, let's go ahead and switch sides here. Good, making sure to keep that knee at 90 degrees. Make sure also that both your elbows are straight. If you're doing this, see how I'm not putting weight in this arm. Well, you actually want to be able to do, see, I'm lifting and lowering my right leg. You want to be able to lift your left hand. That's about how you should be. Right leg goes up, left arm should be able to come up. 90 degrees, making sure not to hyperextend the back. We're almost done here. If this is your first time doing this, it might be a little taxing. That's totally normal. On the other hand, if you've been doing this a while, pause it, pause the video, do another set, do another minute. Okay, one more, and rest. All right, we're gonna do elbow curls, standing up against the wall, heels against the wall, butt against the wall, shoulders against the wall. Okay, I'm gonna curl my fingers just like that, just like the beginner. Except now, instead of being on the floor, I'm standing up. Touch your elbows to the wall every time. If you can't touch the elbows to the wall, lay down on the floor, do the beginner version. Loosen up the shoulders, loosen up the neck, upper back. We're getting good quality movement without forcing anything. We don't want a ton of muscle tension right here. We want to be able to feel a little bit of a burn, but it should not be overwhelming. It should be very doable. Almost done here. But again, if you need to rest, we're doing a minute for each exercise. If you need to rest, feel free to rest. Eventually, you'll be able to get it all the way through. This is the intermediate version, so it's not going to be, it's not the easiest, it's not the hardest either, but it's challenging. It'll get you going. Okay, next we're doing wall presses. Bring your arms up, press your shoulders back to the wall, and release. Press back and release. So you want to try to press without hyperextending. Notice my back. You want to keep the back neutral, keep the chest neutral. So press back and release, press back and release. There may be a little bit of a chest lift, but make sure it's not from the lower back. Shoulder blades are moving. Keep the shoulders down, so don't let them hike up to the ears. Pull them back and release. You want to be able to close the gap behind the shoulder so there's no space from the shoulder to the wall. So the back of your shoulder touches the wall. 100%. Almost done here, then we'll move to the next shoulder exercise. Again, if you need more sets, feel free to rest for about 30 seconds and do another set of a minute. Okay, next one's called side lateral raises. Take your hands, close them up, bring your pinkies to the wall, pull your shoulders back, slide your hands shoulder level, flip palms up, continue all the way up. This is your snow angels, right? This is a progression from the snow angels. So you should be able to do the snow angels pretty well without any tension in the neck to be able to do this. Now if you're going along doing these side lateral raises and then all of a sudden you do feel tension in the neck, go lay down on the floor. It's no problem at all. Do as much as you can standing and then go to the floor and finish your set. Eventually you'll be able to do more and more time. So maybe the first day you can only do 2 or 3 reps standing and the rest of the time you have to lay down. That's fine. Little by little, you'll be able to do more. You have to stick with it. Your body did not start slouching overnight. It took years and sometimes decades. Okay, go ahead and rest. So you're not going to rebuild it overnight. It's going to take some time. Fortunately, it's not going to take decades. So that's a good thing. Okay, so elbows to your side, all the way back. This is the rotator cuff. We're going to externally rotate here. Remember this one we did with the weight in the beginner? Now we're doing this against the wall. The reason why this one's harder is that the goal here is to pull all the way in and then touch your hands to the wall without doing this. Don't let your elbows come off your body. Pull your head back to the wall. Sit up really tall. Open the chest this way, but also this way. Let it expand laterally. And then breathe into your chest. A lot of times we want to do belly breathing. Right now in this exercise, we want to do chest breathing, because that's going to help us elongate laterally in the chest area, right in the front of the shoulders. Get one more big reach to the wall. Good, rest. How are your shoulders feeling so far? It's a lot of shoulder work, a lot of opening the chest and the upper back. It's going to really pay off though. You're going to start to notice you can stand taller. We're going to do goalposts now. Elbows up, shoulder level. We're going to come up and down. Good. So ideally you want to be able to touch your wrists to the wall. If you can't, do not force it. Don't let your lower back arch. Don't let your head or neck scrunch. Make sure this is all from your shoulder. Remember with the hip circles I talked about using the hip in its ball and socket in its circular motion? We're doing the same thing here. This is a circular motion right there. So this is not like a push like a bench press or a pull like a pull up. This is doing kind of circling in the ball and socket. Again, if you can't touch the wall, don't force it. Also, if it goes into your neck, lay down on the floor. And on the other end of the spectrum, if you're advanced, if you can do more, pause the video and do another set. Okay, go ahead and rest. All right, now let's all get on the floor. We're going to do weighted pullovers. Weighted pullovers, I'm going to use a 5. Feel free to use more than this. Definitely feel free to use less. Weighted pullovers, you're going to have your elbows straight. The weight's just like this, where you're holding each head of the dumbbell. Going down here. Of course, if you do not have a dumbbell at home, use something else. Use 2 cans of soup and put the cans of soup together in your hands. Anything. Honestly, you could use a frying pan, as long as you balance the weight, as long as you don't have all the weight over here and none of it over here. Anything that provides just a little bit of extra resistance And if you are not touching the floor in the regular pullovers, remember when your hands were interlaced? If you're not touching the floor, work on that one a little bit. Don't progress quite yet to this. Almost done with this one. Let's do one more rep and rest. Good. Okay, let's put that weight to the side. Make sure you have a little padding for your knee. I got a little yoga mat right here. I'm going to put it right next to the wall. We're going to do kneeling quad stretch. Put your knee right on it. Bring your other leg forward like you're in a, just taking one knee here. Now, my heel is right next to my glute. If you need to pull it forward a little bit, that's fine. I'm going to go both arms here to start. Now I'm going to take the arm of the same side as my back leg. So my left leg, my left arm, I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to reach straight up toward the ceiling. Okay, what this is doing is this is elongating the entire side and front of my hip down here. One of the big reasons why a lot of us have bad posture is not only because of our backs, it's also because of our hips. If the front of your hip is too tight, it's going to pull everything down. So we want to open up from the hip. If your quad stretch doesn't look like this, don't worry. It took a lot of practice to get here. So you'll get there. Okay, let's switch. Other side. Remember, we're putting the knee right up to the wall. I'm bringing the other leg forward, kind of like we're starting a track meet. Bring the arm that's on the same side as the back leg straight up. This arm, elbow straight. Ask yourself the questions. How does this side feel compared to the other one? Tighter, looser? Do I feel it in the same spot? Does it release faster? All those questions. Again, we're getting feedback. We're learning about our bodies. You're the only one who can do that. You're the only one that knows the real answer. As a trainer, I can show you, I can educate you on the form of the human body and about what it's supposed to be able to do. I can also watch you and see, your leg is not quite doing it. Here, move it over here, move it over here. Ultimately, though, I think the clients that we see that get the best results are those who really internalize it. Let's go ahead and come out of it. They really internalize it and they make it their own. We're going to do runner's stretch next. So get a stool, go knee to heel, tuck the back toes, straighten the legs. If you need to pause it while you find a stool, pause it and run and get a stool real quick. You can also use the couch, a chair. You can use the wall, just have your hands on the wall. Now, if you're more flexible and you can go down, feel free to do that. I'm going to stay here because I want to show you that the number one goal is right here in the lower back. I actually want to keep my lower back arched. I want to keep both legs straight. And I want to really try to pull my hips into that forward position here. Get that arch in the back. Now, if you're like most people, you have very tight hamstrings. That's totally understandable with the amount of time that we all sit at the computer, in the car, watching TV. What did I miss? Well, basically all the time. At work. Okay, go ahead and bring it back down. Switch sides. So, again, we're lining up the heel with the knee. We're tucking the back toes, and we're coming straight up. Lining up the heel and the knee, what that basically does is that just ensures that the feet are the same length apart. There's the same amount of room in between the feet. Both thighs tight, bending forward. Again, you don't necessarily need to be down here with your head. What we want to do is get more of an arch in our lower back. So it becomes more of a pelvic movement as opposed to like an upper back reaching movement. So you don't want to do this work with your back. You want to do it with your hips and your hamstrings. We're about halfway done. We have only one exercise after this, and you'll be all wrapped up for the intermediate posture level. This, even though it's intermediate, I know you may be thinking, oh, but there's one more advanced than this. Intermediate is intense, and for most people, they have to start with beginner. So if you can already do intermediate, then you're in pretty good shape and you're right there within striking range of the advanced. Okay, let's go ahead and put the stool away. The next one, the last one, is called sitting floor. So we're going to wedge our tailbone into the wall right here. We're going to straighten our legs. Pull your toes back, and then one vertebrae at a time, I'm going to touch to the wall. Now, if you get to a point where you're up in your upper back and your lower back starts to arch, go right back down. Touch your lower back to the wall. Touch your mid back to the wall. Touch your upper back to the wall while keeping everything below it touching. Next thing, so do a quick check. Every part of my back that's underneath my shirt, every part of my spine under my shirt should be touching the wall. My neck, I want that width, the hand width behind my neck. So I should be able to put my hand behind my neck, and it should be about that width. So I'm going to sit up real tall through the shoulders, like someone's pulling me up toward the ceiling. Pull the shoulders back and down. Should feel a little bit of a burn in your mid-back. And rest. All right, that's intermediate posture. Stay here for a couple weeks. Feel free to intersperse the beginner into this as well. And in a couple weeks to maybe a month or two, be ready for the advanced. Thanks for watching.